Hello and welcome. I'm Darren Jones. I'm a director at Sonihull, the world's leading specialist in ultrasonic anti-fouling systems, and I'm delighted to do this quick presentation for you on understanding ultrasonic anti-fouling, because one thing's for sure, the more we get out in the world, the more we find people that have been in the marine industry for decades and they still don't understand or know what ultrasonic anti-fouling is, what it does and what the benefits are. So we thought we'd explain and make it really simple in under 10 minutes. That's my challenge. So we all know what biofouling is, growth on an underwater surface, and we know probably many of the cost implications, and we'll go into those later. But what are the environmental implications, which are becoming more and more important? Well, the stresses identified by the IMO include risk of transfer of aquatic invasive species, which has a devastating effect on our oceans, and an increasing effect on our operations as more and more jurisdictions look at preventing vessels with growth docking. Second stressor is climate change. Drag on vessels creates a huge amount of inefficiency, huge amount of fuel burn, and an enormous amount of completely pointless CO2 production. This is an environmental and a cost issue. And the third stressor is the pollution of how we currently try to prevent biofouling, whether it be the biocides, the millions of tons that leach into the sea through anti-fouling paint every year. Some of the new paints contain microplastics, and also the residues from in-water cleaning. While some in-water cleaners collect all residue, others don't. These are huge environmental problems which have the regulators very busy, and unless dealt with properly will cost the industry billions. So what is being done to prevent biofouling? Well, traditionally we've had paints with biocides, we've had copper, we have human interaction, such as you can see a man cleaning the hull and propeller areas of a vessel in a dry dock situation. We also have divers, and now robotic cleaning. All of these have their drawbacks, whether environmental in terms of the biocides leaching into the oceans, or whether in manually cleaning, whether you're spreading the invasive species rather than just cleaning the vessel. And then on niche areas such as the box coolers, your grills, your propellers, cleaning robotically and in water is particularly difficult. And the other thing that is being done to address biofouling is regulation. And sometimes the regulation makes life even harder for the operators. As if you can't clean in water and there's nowhere to clean out water, how are you supposed to meet the regulations? So whilst we need to tell no one what biofouling is, it's clearly growth on things in the water, how it comes about and why is key to ultrasonics and how we defeat biofouling. So biofouling starts with bacterial cells, which will get onto any surface in water within seconds of it being submerged. This is food. It is these bacterial cells that are the food on which larger multicellular organisms grow, right up to your barnacle larvae, your mussels, and larger organisms. And it is this film that forms that is the food stuff, and that is the key to ultrasonics. So how exactly does ultrasonics prevent biofouling? Well, quite simply, the ultrasonic sound waves which are pushed through the structures create tiny microscopic bubbles which, when they implode, take out the single cell organisms that create the biofilm, the food source for all the growth. Remove that food chain, remove the growth. This is done through something called non-inertial cavitation. The graphic shows that the microscopic bubbles are formed and then implode, and that's critical. They implode, and when they implode, they take the single cell organism with them. And why is it non-inertial and why is the implosion key? Well, the key here is it is not inertial cavitation, so it creates no damage to your metallic or other surfaces. Quite often engineers listening to this will associate cavitation with corrosion or pitting. This is not an effect of ultrasonics. Not only do we know this from science, from laboratories, but we also know this from thousands of installations on all sorts of surfaces, from propellers to hulls to pipework. So we now know how ultrasonics works, but what is it? Well, you can see some control boxes here, and in the top left-hand corner, a transducer. A transducer is basically like the speaker on a stereo. It's where the ultrasonic sound comes from. The one you see there is about the size of a coffee cup. These things are very simple. You install them, you turn them on, and you leave them alone. And your biofouling will be eliminated or much reduced. Here we have an installation on a sea chest. Quite simply, you can see the control boxes here, and on this other picture here, and there you might just be able to see the transducer, and here is another one. Quite simply, they're wired in, they're installed on top of the sea chest, and they're left alone, and that will be one clean sea chest. Again, on a box cooler, you can see we place the transducer on the lid, and you'll also have one on the side. That will keep a box cooler nice and clean, and guess what? It'll get it through to its 5-year docking cycle. Here we have an example of our propeller solution, and you can see the transducers are placed strategically to ensure that the ultrasonic wave uses the bearing, goes through the shaft and promulgates through the propeller, preventing growth on the propeller. And I think I mentioned before, scientific evidence is suggesting a medium fail propeller is 30% inefficient. That is a very large saving. So what are the results? Well, here we see a cooling system where Sonihull was placed on one half and not the other. As you can see, no protection, growth, protected, very clean. So over here, not much cooling, over there quite a lot, and that's after 12 months. So on other niche areas such as pipework and valves, you can see here on this Dutch pilot boat, these pipes here, this was what was happening every 3 months. 3 months. Over here you can see the results when Sonihull's been fitted after 14 months. Quite something, I'm sure you'll agree. And Sonihull can protect an ultrasonics very large propellers. Here's an example of a propeller after 9 months. This vessel was having to have the propeller in water cleaned with divers every few weeks, 9 months, and still really quite a clean propeller there, saving them an enormous amount of fuel. So thank you for watching this presentation. I hope it's enlightened you a little more as to why ultrasonics works to prevent biofouling, why it's environmentally friendly, why it's cost effective, getting return on investment within the same year that you install it, and why it is, for us, the future of anti-fouling now. Now, I'm sure it will have generated many questions, so for those that want to find out more, please visit our website www.sonihull.com and do get in touch, as we can work with you to save the oceans, one vessel at a time.